Death is not something any of us like to think about, much less talk about with our loved ones. But do you have a plan for the end of your life? What happens if you get in an accident and you're not able to make medical decisions for yourself? Who will make them for you? Will they be the decisions you want? These are all questions that are now being addressed through an advanced directive or advanced care planning, and La Crosse is leading the way. It's a quiet fall afternoon, and inside the Belke home in La Crosse, a very intimate and personal conversation is taking place.
What is your understanding of your health condition, your cancer?
90-year-old Mel Belke is talking with an advanced care planning facilitator about his impending death. His wife and son are also in on the discussion. Earlier this year, Mel found out he has terminal lung cancer.
To the best of my knowledge, there was no cure for this, so it was a certain amount of finality. I was, okay, I've got this is the end.
Coming to terms with his prognosis was the first step. Now Mel is making sure a plan is in place and his feelings are known about how to handle the care leading up to his death.
I think of people that wait, then they're faced with all of these decisions that they have to make. What do we want to do? What do you suppose he would want us to do? All these things that should be talked about ahead of time.
For Mel's family, the conversation isn't an easy one.
I have no fear of death. I welcome it if that is the end.
It's very unsettling to talk about my husband's death, but at the same time, I feel almost pleased that we are going to do what he wants us to do.
The discussion about end-of-life care is very specific.
Have you talked about whether you would like to stay at home, be at home to die?
And the answers have very definite implications.
If I'm not able to walk or talk, or if I'm not able to know who I am or who I'm with, then what would you want? This generally isn't the first time that people have thought about these kinds of things. And by using this interview format that we use, I think it helps ease people into the discussion of death.
30 years ago, the concept of advanced care planning didn't really exist. Now, over the past 2 decades, La Crosse has built a program that has become both a national and international model. It's called Respecting Choices.
We repeatedly saw situations in our hospital where patients were desperately ill, probably not going to recover, and we would turn to the family and say, what would your mother or father want in this circumstance? And the families would look back to us and say, we don't know.
In 2005, the Terri Schiavo case thrust the issue into the national spotlight. The Florida woman had been in a vegetative state for 15 years. Her husband said it was her wishes not to be kept alive by machines anymore. Her parents disagreed, feeling she would someday recover. After a lengthy legal battle, Terri's feeding tube was removed, and she died 13 days later.
It comes down to respecting human dignity, that people value life, they value how they live their life, and also as they pass away from this life, as to the process that is involved there.
The Respecting Choices program is made up of 3 levels, depending on where a person is in their care. The goal is to have a health care plan in place that respects the wishes of the patient.
Who would you want to make decisions? When would a serious brain injury be so bad that the goals of care would need to change for you, from your perspective? And are there any important personal beliefs that you have, what we should know about that would affect how medical decisions might be made?
The concept seems to be working, too. 96% of people who died in a care facility in La Crosse County last year had some type of advanced care plan.
In most places, even though patients might sign a legal document, they often don't work. They often don't make any difference in what happens to them. Here it does.
And even though Mel trusts his family to do the right thing in his final stages of life, it's comforting for him to know they're now aware of his decisions.
It is very settling to me I feel that this is the way I want it. My family knows it, and there will be minimal confusion at that time.
Now, it's important to note this is not just for older people. You can be 90 years old like Mel, or you can be 30 years old. Think about if you got in an accident and something...
There's no plan.
Yeah, there's no plan in place. You want to at least have a healthcare power of attorney who knows your wishes, can make your medical decisions for you if you're not able to.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I've done this for both my parents now, I'm doing that with my mom right now, and it's one of those things, it's not a comfortable conversation, it's not a fun conversation, but it's very necessary, and it actually relieves some of the stress once you know you've taken care of it. So it's really important, and it's nice to know that, you know, once you do these advanced directives, they follow you wherever you're getting your health care.
That's right. They're put into your electronic medical records so they can be brought up wherever you go. If you change hospitals or move out of town, those doctors can still have access to it.
Yeah, and also we wanted to let you know about a documentary that will be airing this Sunday called Consider the Conversation. And it does take a closer look at multiple perspectives on end-of-life care. And it airs at 10:35 p.m. immediately following News 8 at 10 on Sunday.